To add doors to our casework, we now need to add reference planes here inside of our Revit family. The reason why we're putting in reference planes is that the doors need to attach to the reference planes. Then, if the casework would get wider or more narrow, it will automatically adjust the overall width of the doors so that the doors always have the same look to them on the outside of the casework. If we come up here to Create, we now need to select on Reference Plane. After clicking on Reference Plane, let's draw a reference plane from right about here down. Draw another reference plane from about here down. Then draw a reference plane over. Then draw another reference plane about 4 inches off the bottom reference plane over. Then hit the Escape key a couple of times on the keyboard to get out of the command. Next, I want to make sure that each one of these reference planes is the correct distance away from the other reference planes. So let's come up to the Annotate tab and select on the Aligned Dimension. Click the first reference plane, click the next reference plane, then click out here. Click here, then click out. Click here, here, then down, then click here, select on the reference plane, then down. Now, if for some reason your bottom reference plane is not currently at the 4-inch mark, what we need to do, and I just hit the Escape key on the keyboard a couple of times to get out of the command, would be to select on that bottom reference plane, zoom in by just spinning the wheel of your mouse, then clicking where the dimension is at, and typing in 4 inches so that that reference plane is 4 inches off the base of where our cabinets are at. Select on this, what I'll call the top reference plane that we just drew in. And what I would like for this reference plane is it to be 1.5 inches off of the top. So I'll click where we had that dimension and I'll type in 1.5 inch. Then just click somewhere out here. Let's do the same thing on both of the sides. Select on the reference plane, find the dimension, select on the dimension, type in 1.5 inch, and do the same thing with the other reference plane. Once those steps are completed, what I'd like to do is now lock each one of these dimensions so that that dimension will always stay the same. Meaning that if this reference plane or this reference plane would move, the reference planes that we drew in will always stay locked 1.5 inches away from those reference planes, no matter where they move to. Let's also do that for this 1.5 inches as well as the 4 inches. Now that the reference planes are in and they're locked into position, now let's draw in our doors. Come up here to the Create tab, select on Extrusion. Now for the overall depth of these extrusions, I'd like them to be 3/4 of an inch. So where we have depth, here on the options bar, type in 3/4 of an inch. Select on the rectangle tool. I'm zooming in just by spinning the wheel on my mouse. I'll click this intersection, then select on this intersection. Then lock each one of the lines that I've just drawn in. This means that if the reference planes would move, the overall mass of these doors will adjust to get either bigger or smaller. Then click on the big green check mark. Now let's do the same thing over on the right-hand side. Create an extrusion, verify that your depth is 3/4 of an inch. Click this intersection. Now you could use the rectangle tool. In fact, that's probably what I should have done. But I'm just going to draw all the way on around. Then click on the big green check mark. Now if you'd used the rectangle tool, you would have had those padlocks. If you didn't use the rectangle tool, just like what I just did, you'll need to then select on these arrows that show up, pull them back, pull them forward, and then lock them so that they are locked to the appropriate reference planes. And do that all the way on around your doors. Once those are locked into place, let's take a look at what we currently have for our doors in a 3D view. So come up to the default 3D view button, and then take a look at your cabinetry as it currently looks.